And this is a Bridge Makers weekly event we do where we practice being humans on purpose around how we build community. And we do that both with talking about best practices of community, which is where we talk about norms. Then we also share one pain point about
Hello.
building community. Hello, Jay. Welcome. And then we will end with a world hop where we will just go look at some different environments, asking the question, how does this make or break community? And we'll close with an appreciation game where we recognize how we grow each other. So this is where we pay attention throughout this event so we can actually offer something hopefully meaningful to somebody. Yay. Oh, Jay's waving at the camera. So, yeah, to start out, we're going to talk about norms. And for those of you who might not remember, or, we talk about norms versus rules or guidelines because norms are the unspoken things. They're the things we don't talk about, but they govern how we get along and what cultures we build. And so this is a time to, if you see the banner Bridge Makers, you can look at some of the norms that are written there in the rules box because they don't, VRChat doesn't recognize the difference between those things yet. So we had to write them all in the same place. You can read one of those out loud if you'd like, or just talk about one thing you see healthy communities do to build a vibrant and sustainable culture. What helps you all connect? Hey, Fro, welcome.
Hello.
Have game will travel. That's awesome.
Wanted to get a little fidget toy for myself.
That feels like that's
So
gonna
I can...
be on your own avatar soon. You're just gonna like travel it around.
It's neat. I don't know what it is, but it's cool looking. If it's distracting,
Basically,
I'll get rid of it.
it's an elaborate tic-tac-toe, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, we'll start with norms and then do the next part. And so, who would like to share one norm that helps build healthy community? Who wants to start?
I got one.
All right, Jay,
Got one.
jump in. Yeah.
Um, yes, show up sober. Don't take drugs or show up drunk. Be present for mentally as well as physically.
Yeah. Yeah,
Huh.
and thank you. So we do have a norm of no substance use for our events, and this is partly because we're doing something kind of different in this space. This isn't just about escaping or like avoiding uncomfortable things. We're actually leaning into discomfort together and doing a conscious practice of awareness and developing ourselves as humans. And when we show up when our minds are really altered, we can actually skew the whole group process without even meaning to. I might be like, yeah, I'm having so much fun. I love you all. And you're all going like, whoa, this is just feeling off. And nobody can quite name it. So we ask you to refrain from substance use that could change the consistency of how you show up with us. And, that's your own accountability with yourself. But thank you for practicing it with us. Yeah. What's another norm? Thank you, Jay.
I can go.
Yeah.
Saying hello and goodbye.
Yeah.
Welcoming people that come in
Mm-hmm.
verbally or with a message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We like to build that welcoming presence and also acknowledge that we impact each other as humans. So VR has a Irish goodbye culture where people just vanish. And at Bridgemakers, we're working to recognize that we do leave a bit of a hole when we leave, and offering vulnerability about why we're choosing to step away from an event, especially if it's not over yet, is a way to be decent with each other and invite grace. That we'll be given a celebration and acknowledgement and grace, but understand we impact each other, and there can be beauty even in the pain of saying, I gotta go. And this is why. So the more we practice that and the more we are willing to greet people when they show up, so it looks like somebody just came in, that's a way to kind of grow the culture on purpose. So Gamma Neil just came in. Oh, Gamma's back. Wow. Funny. The last time Gamma was here,
Mm.
we were in this world, but it was daytime. So I guess Gamma likes this world. That's amazing. Yay. Gamma. So yeah, what's another norm? Thank you for that. Say hello, say goodbye. What's another one?
I could go.
Sure.
We like to use emojis here. We think it's a great
Mm-hmm.
way to
They run up.
express
Feedback.
Didn't see him.
our way to help people contribute in conversations,
Oh, darn.
even if
Oh,
no
wow.
one's really if they're not speaking.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
and there, I guess we weren't fast enough because I didn't see Gamma Neil. But then, right as I got up here, I saw him leave. So,
Oh, bummer. Zoom, zoom. Yeah, well, thank you. So, sorry, Fro, I got a little distracted there. So you were saying, say that one more time.
For emoji use, we
Ah,
like to really encourage it because it shows, conscious listening,
yeah,
being able to reflect on what people are saying without having to interrupt them
yeah,
if they don't feel like
exactly.
speaking. Yeah, like we love
Nice.
crazy emojis like this one.
Yeah, these are ways that it can feel a little chaotic sometimes for people, but we'd prefer the feedback over not. And it gives us a way to say, I'm with you, even if we're on desktop or whatever else. So more emojis, especially making sure they're safe for work, better. But that all has to do with how we practice reflective listening and how, yes, there they are, how we slow things down when we need to, and also try to give the feedback we can, even if it doesn't feel like speaking is the right thing at the moment. Okay, 100%. What other norms? If you don't know Bridgemakers norms or you don't want to read the banner, you can also just think about what's a community you're involved in or you miss that did something really touching for you that you realized, wow, there's no rules about that, but they do that and it makes a difference. Yeah, Bass. Oh,
1 second, I need to
yeah.
do something.
Oh, okay. Hey,
Oh,
Gamma's back.
there's Gammon again.
Scott was quick. Oh no, Scott was on that. Now they're
I
gonna
don't
be
know
like,
what else with this
"Hello,"
guy. It
and
sounds kind of cool.
Gamma's like, "Oh my god, that's a lot of people." Um, that's funny. Cool. All right. So Bass is taking a break for a second. Um, Jeanette, what about you? Do you have a norm that you want to share?
Is it a so I was confused. Is it a norm that's in specifically Bridgemaker? Or are you just asking for a norm I've seen generally?
It can be either
Like you
or.
said, or something.
So it's learning
Oh,
about our
okay, I
norms, but
see.
also contributing one if you don't want to read ours or look at us again. Gamma, you're back. Good to see you.
Hello.
So
Hello.
funny. We're
Hi.
back in the same instance, but it turned into winter. I think the last time you were here, we were here.
Mm.
That was so great.
Yeah, it was much more
Right.
bright.
Yes. We're doing
Yeah,
cozy today.
Mhm,
Hopefully
mhm.
not too cold for your avatar. Okay.
it's perfect.
Yay. And yeah, Jeanette.
I think a norm rule we use is in one of my groups is essentially a step back rule. So generally, if you're having a conversation or someone proceeds with a conversation and you don't want to have it, you can simply ask to have them step away or reference the rule, like rule 4 or what have you, and they have to respect it and walk away or take the conversation elsewhere. But it's also kind of like if someone else is having a conversation, you have to have the initiative to say, okay, well, I can't expect them to move. I should move myself. The world's big enough. There's plenty of space,
Yeah.
which normally isn't in most community spaces. It's not usually chiseled in, but we use it quite often.
That's
Generally,
great.
it
So it's
helps.
called the step back rule.
It's simple. I'm just describing it in general as just conversations or discourse or comments that make people uncomfortable. It's essentially big on it's like a consent rule. You don't consent to the conversation. You don't consent to you being present in that conversation. You like the person to respect a boundary, and then it's chiseled in. They have to do it, and
That's
it actually
great.
gets used quite often,
I
and
bet it
it
does.
helps
Yeah,
build healthy boundaries.
exactly. Because in VR, we don't get all the nonverbal stress signals head to toe that we might pick up on in physical reality that says, this isn't working for us. We're not together anymore. And so saying, I need you to respect, I need to step back from this, or I need you to step back from this is a really great way to make that explicit, just in case we're not reading each other. Thank you. That's a lovely one. We might want to add that one. And yeah, interesting. It's making me think more. Gamma, you're welcome to jump in. I think I vaguely remember last time you might have arrived after our norm setting, but maybe you were here. Basically, we're just sharing one thing that helps build healthy communities that might not be written down as a rule, but can be really important for us to think about, both in bridge makers and even today. How do we help each other belong here and feel safe and support each other in being our best humans?
I can go.
Oh, okay.
Unless Gamma's got one ready. I didn't.
Just off the top of your
wasn't
head.
sure if they were. Yeah, if they were, ready to go. I didn't want to cut the flow there.
Yeah.
I did have something in mind.
Great.
For me, I think cultivating presence, acceptance of presence.
Yeah.
I feel in a community it's very easy to feel pressure to talk and to participate, but there's something rare about being in a space where there is explicit consent or encouragement to be like, it's okay to just be for a moment with others here. And I get something that we feel, oh, of course you can be, but to say it, to be explicit about it, I think it's something rare and makes me feel more comfortable personally.
Well, thank you for that. And I'm also just aware that I called on you and didn't say that. So thank you for participating anyway, even though it sounds like you would maybe want more.
No, I thought like, okay, we're getting into it, so it kind of felt natural to me. Yeah.
Okay,
So I'm like,
good.
okay, let's go.
Yeah, you're being invited. Yeah. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Like I've talked to a lot of facilitators in social VR about this idea of kind of like just letting people hang. And I think that it really depends on the type of event. And what I've noticed is that the facilitators who seem to be the most sustainable do kind of dance around a bit and tug people to just like, hey, do you want to share? Do you want to try? But also like not being like, you must share or else. Sometimes, especially for the quieter people, being given a turn, given an invitation makes all the difference. But sometimes for the exact same people, being given a term feels like too much pressure and then they go away. So it mixes, but I appreciate that's a value for you. And we have some events that are a bit more kind of just like flow in and out, but
And
yeah.
can I add something to
Sure.
that? I think I want to differentiate because I like being looped in. I really appreciate it. Like, so I like when you looped me in. I think it's like, at least the example I'm having in my mind is that I was part of a group and they said like, hey, we're gonna start and I'm gonna call you out, but if you don't have an answer or maybe nothing comes to mind, like that's
You
okay.
pass. Yeah.
And yeah, you can pass. And there was a kind of this feeling that it's okay to just witness. Like we are gonna give you a participation and loop you in, and I personally appreciate it. But there's also like explicit consent to be like, it's okay if you don't have something in mind and all that. So for me, those are, I guess different
Yeah. Yeah, I
correlated
gotcha.
things, but I wanted to, yeah,
And that,
that's what I was imagining.
yeah, and I really love that word presence. I think that's the result when we have these kind of flexible boundaries or presence, right? The gift of the flexible boundaries of going, we're not going to wait for you to push yourself in, right? Because especially in social VR, having to insert yourself when you're in a new space can feel like, oh, I hope they don't think I'm a troll, right? But also giving people the chance to say no and be celebrated in that and be empowered to pass, and they'll get another invitation. Yeah, it's lovely. Both
Thank you.
directions. Yay. Axel, what about you?
I think I'm gonna bring back the one that I had last week, which is the taking the time to care for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
both in like mind, body, spirit. So, because presence is very important in everything that we show up for, and just just knowing like where you are in your capacity and what you can take in, what you can't, just having that moment to yourself to identify that. And then if you have to step away, it's completely okay. And you have all of the ability and rights to do so and
Mm-hmm.
taking care of yourself.
Yeah, so good. I get a little antsy when I see people try and tug each other to stay in VR. Oh, just wait, one more thing, one more thing. Sometimes I'm tempted there also, but I really value our human first belief that, it's a luxury to be in this product, but we also have to stay true to the creature that holds us up to be in this product, and that is our human body. And so, um, part of building presence is budgeting so that we can be present and being accountable when we maybe misbudgeted. Um, and that's a moving target for all of us. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Oof.
That
Well,
kind of leads into an aspect of mine, at least, or kind of, similar other side of the coin. At least, I know this is one of the bridge makers' kind of core values in general, but just the idea of like transparency and, uh, if there is a, new thing coming down, like it's generally going to be given a reason, or if I know that's one thing that people cite with the community that I'm a mod for, that like one of the biggest things that people, are that makes them feel comfortable there is that most of the mod decisions and stuff are always published with a little kind of blurb about what went down, what was our thought process or whatever. Or if you catch us in a VC, we'll generally just talk to you about whatever's going on. But in that same vein, and on the, during an event like this, I mean, pretty much exactly what Hay was talking about last week. I, because I work nights when I am trying to do daytime stuff on the weekends, I tend to misbudget my sleep. And right now I'm in a similar boat, but I did drink a 5-hour energy about an hour and a half ago, so I'm doing all right at the moment. But yeah, I think last week I checked out a half hour early. This week I am, for anyone that wasn't here in the very beginning, I am going to be leaving right on the hour, about 30 minutes as well, to go to a mod meeting, which we do very rarely. So yeah, just, whatever's going on, it's always good to kind of just have that full information, the context on the situation. It makes people feel a lot more comfortable with whatever's going on.
thanks, Carl. Accountability and acknowledging where we're at, even if it feels like it's not going to fit. Good. Okay. Well, this is the part. I think everyone's gone. Fro, did you go? Yeah, you did. Everyone did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the part where we transition into pain points. And some people think, wow, hey, you're such a pessimist. Why do you always make us talk about pain points? And mostly I bring up pain points because we have very few places in social VR that make space for that and acknowledge that community building is hard. It is. You might be able to hear my voice is a bit raspy right now. I've been in meetings all week long about crises that are going on in our community and other communities, and I'm tired. And so that's my pain point. My body is like, feels like, I don't know, lead weights trapped in a net or something. And it's just kind of like, oh, trying not to sink. Hopefully I'll get some good sleep tonight. But that's my pain point. My pain point is I'm really dragging today, and I believe in the ritual of this, and I wanted to come and hold this space. But acknowledging pain points is really important, whether you're building community just with family or friends, or you're building community in here as a leader or moderator. Um, we are streaming and recording, and part of how we negotiate that, because we do value transparency and collective learning, is you can name your pain point, but leave names out. Leave names of any community members or community specifically if you can, so that we can make it more about us collectively learning from each other instead of side, shit posting or gossiping about somebody. And we're always really good with that, but it's just a gentle reminder. And then the other thing we do with this exercise, which is where you get to practice with us, is you get to practice reflective listening. And for those of you who have seen it before, what is reflective listening, and how is it different from just normal conversation? Any guesses or ideas, or you want to take a stab?
Well, yes.
Okay.
What it is, the way I understand it, you after somebody shares what they've been going through, something rough. In this instance, uh, so something a rough patch or something that's really caused them a lot of burden over the past since the last time they attended. Um, then somebody else sort of reiterates that, checks. It's like, just telling, this is what I understand from it. This is just to make sure that the other person feels heard. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
so the person sharing their pain is understood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Jay. That's definitely the skeleton of it. And I want to hear a couple other responses so we can get some flavors. So, Bass, what's reflective listening? Oh, you
I
raise
have
your
no
hand.
idea. I've never heard the term before.
Oh, okay. So, new learning today. Love that. I thought I saw your hand, so I apologize. Who else raised their hand?
I was just in my headset. That's what
Oh,
that was.
gotcha. No worries. All right, Profredor, what's reflective listening, and how is it different from conversation?
It's a form of being able to acknowledge what the person had said back to them, like a mirror. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about trying to solve their problem or provide answers or recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
It can just be a way to completely reflect what the other person is
Yeah.
saying and to tell them what you heard and to kind of like say it back to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the
I kind of
resist.
thought of a nice little poetic way to put it here.
Oh,
Tell them what you heard so that they feel seen.
Yes.
That's nice. Yeah, that's part of it. I think what can happen with that definition is I want to make you feel seen, so that I'm going to tell you what I heard, and also how you might feel about that, and also when I've gone through that. And those are all ways to make you feel seen. But this is a really simple one. It's basically like if you tell me I went to the store, I stubbed my toe, and then I walked into a lake. My job is to say, you went to the store, you stubbed your toe, and you walked into a lake, even though I might remember the time I stubbed my toe, or I might wonder why you walked into the lake. Are you still there? Like, what's going on? So in normal conversation, I'd be like, let's have more going on here. And here's all the lakes I've walked into, or whatever. But reflective listening is really a very simple practice of saying, these are the the most important pieces I heard you say. Did I get that?
That's kind of, I often equate things down, like kind of simplify them down to a meme too, and that there's a kind of joke that like Solid Snake from the Metal Gear Solid games, like he can always keep a conversation going because he just takes whatever kind of proper noun from whatever you're saying with a question mark. So it's just like, oh, store, lake.
Nice. Yeah. That's a very almost trollish way to reflective listening. We're going to ask for a little more, but everybody gets to practice it at least once, and it helps us all pay attention and resist the fix. Everywhere else, especially in conversation in here, we kind of slip into a role play of believing we know the right thing to do that somebody else should be doing. And this is an uncomfortable way to build that muscle that allows people to say, I'm in pain, and say, you're in pain. Did I get that? It's the basics that slip past us in these beautiful, complicated spaces with so many stories running through us. So, who would like to share a pain point? And the goal is about a minute long sharing, and then somebody's going to volunteer to reflect you back. And you can also try on me because I already shared my pain point if you would like. Like a attempt.
I could try to reflectively listen.
Sure. Thank you, Scott.
Sure. Yeah, what I heard you say was that you had been in kind of like a solid block of meetings for many hours on end, and that we might hear your voice be kind of hoarse because just so much physical talking.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad you said something. I didn't pick up on it, but I can
Mm.
hear it.
Yeah. Thank you. And so that was part of it, and great memory. And the second part I said is like community building is really hard, and I'm feeling like a what was my metaphor? Leaden net, I think I said. Kind of trying to not sink right now. And so, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm remembering that part too now,
Yeah.
that you were feeling like a sinking feeling, and
Yeah, just kind of dragged down. Thank you. I feel heard. Thank you, Scott. Who else would like to share a pain point? We'll go popcorn style. We're not that big of a group tonight. Yeah. Buzz. Little buzz.
I guess I can.
Okay. Axel.
So it's kind of building off of my pain point last week that I talked about, which was like how to show trauma through like the dialogue that we're missing, like trying to find that dialogue as well. But now I've as being present in the Makers Discord, in my class I'm taking this session. Now it's getting more into making sure that certain groups are represented and like the identities are not being portrayed in a way that is at all negative, but more in a way that embraces and encourages, and like not in the way that nowadays that we're seeing, which is like completely like erasing or taking away the power from. So I think my pain point now is just taking all of this healing that I'm trying to put into my thesis now and like really making it more meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm missing so much dialogue right now that I'm constantly just doing much more research and trying to find and utilize.
Thank you, Axel. Who would like to try reflecting Axel back?
I can give it a go because I want to be sure that I understood as well.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I heard that you're, still working through your thesis stuff, I believe is what it is, and in the representation work you're trying to do there, you're trying to, handle that with as much care and thoughtfulness as you can to make sure that it's, uh, you know, truly does represent those you want it to and doesn't come off as, condescending or anything like that, which I'm sure that's a very, narrow bridge to try to navigate. So, sounds pretty stressful.
Mm.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, good.
Good.
Yeah. Thanks for persisting in that, Axel. That's tough work. Oof. All right. Another pain point. While I'm in, the fire is warm. Yes, Bass.
So I'm hoping I'm understanding how this works, but I think I have something. It's hard to think of what because there's lots of issues, of course, with everyone's life. A lot of it you don't really want to share with, no offense, a group of people you don't really know that well. But there is one thing. I have this friend, really, really good friend of mine. He's over in the US. I've known him for probably, I want to say about 6 years. We've been through a hell of a lot. I helped each other a lot of things. He's the reason I have these. He sent them to me. I couldn't get them in my country. So, yeah, he's been a really, really top guy. And I was supposed to pay him back for these. And I was like, hey, I'll pay you back. And he's like, he just wouldn't accept it. He's a really top guy. I'm struggling with my mental state in terms of I have a condition that makes it very hard for me to remember things, to focus on things, and over time I get very, very apathetic towards everything. The longer I spend doing anything, the more I almost learn to hate it. And I've spent more time with him than anybody else. Close one other person, but I'm getting to a point now where it's actually difficult to to be around him, to talk to him, to interact with him, and that's becoming quite painful because I don't mean to. It's something I can't really help, and I'm having to go through all kinds of jumping through hoops and what have you with psychiatrists and whatever to try and get it sorted. But yeah, I feel quite a bit of pain because I know that I'm upsetting him. I really don't want to be doing that, but I don't have a choice, or I don't have an option to not do that at this stage.
Wow.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Wow. Thank you, Bass. That is quite a story. And I'm glad you shared it. That's very real. So, who would like to try reflecting Bass back?
I could try.
Okay.
So if I understand, so you have a friend who's in the United States. He's given you your request, and he your VR goggles. I listened by typing, so
Controllers.
let the
Just the controllers. I
controllers.
didn't mention, so
Okay.
that's fair.
Yes. But he but no, you have a it's really hard for you to stay focused on on specific things, and the longer you stay committed to something, the harder it is to keep it up. In this case, your friendship with this man, and you feel like you may be drifting, and this is upsetting him, but you're not. But you don't really have a way of counteracting that. Like it's is that do I have that so far?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you got the gist.
Okay.
Yeah. And I also heard in that there's a there's a lot of loyalty conflict going on of like you care about this person, but you also don't care to be around them, and that conflict is really kind of ripping you up.
Not exactly. The problem is that I do care to be around them. It's a chemical thing. Like consciously, I know that they're a fantastic friend. Consciously, I know that I owe them like attention, time, and all that. But my brain is at the same time telling me you want to do literally anything else but talk to them.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the conflict.
Yeah. So there's care there, but not necessarily interest. It's like anything but this. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying. Yeah. I want to welcome Maven. Maven, thank you for being here. If you don't mind putting yourself on orange, that will help us kind of keep our circle. Have you been to one of these circles before? I can't remember.
No, this is my first time, and thank you so much for welcoming me.
Of course, yeah, we're glad you're here. So yeah, putting yourself on orange, we're just basically checking in about what is one ache around building community, and then somebody else is going to try to reflect that back. So you can kind of listen in and see how the pattern goes, and if you want to join in, you're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. So who else has a pain point?
I
Go
could
for it.
go.
Okay.
So lately, well, it's hard to say how lately, but I feel like more and more recently I've just been getting more stressed about the world in general. Currently living in the US, things are getting kind of worse every day and really depressing, like, realizations. And I feel like I've been one thing I learned recently was that people will typically have their cortisol levels spike in the morning, but it's something to like your body to wake you up. But I feel like I get these, bouts of fear and anxiety like before I'm like fully rested and awake. And it's like a few hours before I have to get ready for work, and I'm just like ruminating in bed, trying to, figure out all these. My brain's trying to process answers to solve for all these anxieties and lots and lots of fears of like, am I going to have to leave this country at some point? How bad is everything going to get? Should I even be trying to build my future here, or should I try to get everything ready that I can pick up and go? But I don't even have plans on what that would look like and how many people would I leave behind? Who else would leave? It just, I don't know. Everything is so anxiety inducing. I'm just trying to figure out how to process it all and figure out what to do next. So,
wow. Thank you, Fro.
yeah.
Who would like to try reflecting Fro back?
Yeah, this is one of those nights where multiple people, I'm just like, are you me?
Yeah, I know. I'm seeing so many hands go up. Everyone's like, let's do this. All right, I'm going to pick Gamma. Go for it.
Yeah. So I would say that, like, I'm hearing from you that there's a lot of stressors. You're noticing like a lot of stressors in the world, especially in your home country, the US. And you recently had realizations that, hey, I don't wake up normally. I don't wake up in the cortisol. A normal thing is for, you wake up and maybe your cortisol spikes. And but for you, it's like almost before you're waking up, before you're feeling that consciousness, is already so many questions and anxieties in a time where your brain should theoretically be resting or not even like just in a calm state. But for you, it's like just questions about questions in terms of should I leave? How many people should I leave behind? Given the state of the world and my country, and it's just all very uncertain, and it seems like a lot to process. And it's like you're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Do you feel heard, Professor?
Yeah, I feel seen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gamma.
Mm. And
Thank you.
I also just want to reflect back how much body language I saw as you both were sharing and reflecting. Like this is pretty resonant. So invitation with emojis. Who really relates to what you just heard there? If you do, yeah. Any emojis you want to share? We got a brick, thumbs up. Yeah, definitely a joining stress. Oof. Okay, another pain point has been thrown in.
Yeah,
The entire United
I
States
think I
is
need
right
to go.
here. Okay.
Just because I've got about 9 minutes here, so gotta go before I go. And this is definitely one of those times where I'm more. I think Brophy kind of named one I was kind of circling around for myself. So it's that kind of helplessness at scale, I think. But I think I'll go in a different direction with it. And there's a certain kind of conflict where, like, from the outside, like, not so much like I don't have a dog in the race, but I kind of see both sides as equally valid, and the whole thing is not worth arguing about. But then, like, there's things that I can clearly see where there's a disagreement. There's a line in the sand being drawn, and I'm just kind of standing off to the side of the court, like, I don't really get it, I guess. Even though I think when I'm looking at either side, like, I understand why they're saying what they're saying. So it's definitely happened in mod situations, kind of divisions that kind of spring up, and even at work with just kind of also with that kind of helplessness, not taking charge on things, to kind of not get in the middle of it and potentially have any ramifications for me as well, maybe. So not taking the risk. But yeah, like, just kind of seeing these things that in the past I've seen them boil up and become a bigger problem, and getting that same feeling about things, but just not having the confidence or the strength to step in and say, like, well, maybe we don't need to just do X, or just to step in at all, do anything about it, get involved.
Thanks, Carl. Who wants to try reflecting that back?
I could try.
Okay.
I don't think it went yet.
Yeah.
So from what I heard, it sounds like you have perspectives on seeing a bigger conflict between multiple sides, and have experienced situations with mod teams and trying to figure out, how to react or how to take a step back. And when you see these conflicts, you see yourself as a part of it and can step away, but don't really know how to step in to find a resolve, to calm the conflict. It seems like political sides tend to spring up, and it's, you don't want to pick one side because then that alienates the other half of your friends or whichever group it's happening in. So That's what I understood.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much just that hesitancy to step in and the frustration with it. Yeah, I'd say you heard me there.
Who here relates through emojis with feeling hesitant to step into conflict? Anybody want to give us an emoji to show they resonate with that? Yeah. Conflict avoidance. It's alive and well. There we go. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, namely when it's other people's. Excuse me, I got a little bit of heartburn. When it's other people's conflict. Yeah, I ate a bunch of pizza earlier, but yeah, other people's conflict that I don't quite see as important. But the more it is ignored, the more it actually becomes like a division or a thing with consequences.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, thank you, Carl. Well, good luck with your conflict. I mean, your meeting.
Hopefully, well, and I will be honest, that is part of kind of what brings it to mind. But it's not like it's on the agenda here to address it or anything, or well, in a way, I guess like follow-on effects of that sort of thing. So it's like maybe we wouldn't be having this discussion if things had been settled ages ago.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times when we think of conflict, it's at the point where repair is very hard to get to because it's kind of simmered and shattered for so long that it's a pre-bridged full, break. And then we're like, I don't do conflict. And it's like, yeah, when it gets to that point, I don't either. So how do we get to it earlier? Yeah. Well, thanks for being
All
here.
right, I'm gonna let you guys enjoy the rest of the event, and hopefully I'll see everybody next week.
Bye, Carl.
Take it easy, Carl.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Oh, we lost our fire. Oh, anyone else want to put a fire down?
They took it with them.
They took the fire. I have one, but if anybody else
I don't have the fire
wants
option.
to drop a fire, I will.
I don't
let you
know
do
if I
it.
have it or not.
There we go. I got
Okay,
one.
there we go.
Thank you. All right. Who wants to share pain point? Next pain point. Runner up.
I can share.
Okay.
Oh, well, okay. If you want to go first.
Let's go gamma.
Okay. I would say recently I had the thought of creating a small community, 4 weeks. So it's like a cohort of sorts where related to my interests. Like I'm interested in some like I'm interested in coding and comedy, and I love comedy shows, and I like coding, and I like AI, and I feel like it's hard to meet people, or at least like I want to try to meet people that share my interest, and I call it like trying at least to create a micro culture around myself. Like, what is the culture I want to, like, instead of waiting for it to come to me, why not try to create it and be proactive about it? And that means created some posts that I can put out like on the internet to see, like, oh, also like, hey, people are interested, like, they would like to meet up in VR. And while thinking about this, that's where my pain point comes. I got scared. I got very scared because I had a experience before where I was part of a community, and it ended very painfully. I lost the whole like community and everybody related to it. And it made me feel scared. I didn't want to build something that could crumble. And I realized that, hey, I relate security to permanence.
Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah.
I have a belief inside, like, that I realized at that moment. I'm like, why am I so scared? And it's like trees and flowers and everything in this world,
It dies.
it dies one day.
Mm.
And I had so much resistance to that it surprised me, and I still find it hard to process, to create something that I know will end, or to attach myself to somebody or a community that I know will just, it won't be forever. And it sounds like a dreamy kind of thing, like Santa Claus is not real, but I know intellectually it makes sense to kind of, yeah, things pass, they're impermanent, but emotionally I can't. I just makes me want to cry, and yeah.
Wow. So real. Thank you, Gamma. Who would like to reflect Gamma back? Yeah, Beth.
So what I'm hearing is that you want to put together a community centering around your various interests. But due to, I guess, past experiences, and I guess maybe more than that as well, you are worried about committing to that because you're worried that one day it will come to an end, and you want it to be permanent, even though you yourself admit that you know that these things, can never really be permanent, and you know that that's fine, but you still feel a lot of fear surrounding that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah. And I want to just invite again, show of emojis. Who relates to this pain point? I definitely do. Permanence and security. Yeah. You definitely have a lot of people here who hold that ache with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm still new to it. Like I didn't know they were different. So I guess emotionally. So yeah, it's hard to.
It is.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oof. Especially being in a world that is so anti-death. And so one of my an author I love is named Octavio Paz, and he's from Mexico, and he said something to the effect of, a society who cannot celebrate death will never really live.
Yeah.
And, de los muertos. Oof. Like this is a way that death is celebrated in that culture ritualistically. And we don't have those celebrations in the United States, at least, in any real way. And so, yeah, we're missing that gear at every level that lets us push into the pain, hold it with each other, and release it and come back to life.
Can I chime into that? I remember hearing about this really fascinating practice that I can't remember which monks it is, what part of the world, but what they do is they get a bunch of colored sand, and they get like, I don't know how many students from the room, but they say to them, draw something, use this sand and put it onto the ground, make these beautiful patterns. And sometimes the things that they create, they could take a day to create, they could take longer. Some of them go on for like months putting together something really, really beautiful. And then at the end, I don't believe they're told, at least not the first time, they're not told that this is going to happen. But the instructor, one of the head monks, whatever, comes over and he destroys the work. He just rakes it and destroys all of it. And they do this over and over and over again. And the idea is to eventually get people to understand, or get these monks to understand, that everything will end. But that's not a problem. It's the reality of things. And just because something comes to an end does not mean that you didn't enjoy it for every single second that you spent creating it and running it, being a part of it, and experiencing it with others.
Yeah, lovely. And the key to that is that it's a group experience to create it and grieve it. And that's what I think we miss when we talk about these lessons or something. We talk about it like I should just be fine because that group can be fine. And it's a very different thing to try to celebrate death or embrace death when we're on our own. And it's a very different thing to do a sand mandala versus build a community and watch it die. These are different levels. So, yeah, thank you. Who else would like to share a pain point?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, so I've this is actually, I think I something that has been bothered me is that I was raised to let things slide and let everything be water under the bridge because they like forgive and forget. But one thing is that even in my Christian upbringing, the principle is supposed to be actually coming to the person and talking to them is part of the forgiveness process. It's not just, oh, I'm just gonna decide not to be mad anymore. It is more complicated than that. And so yes, like I am in the process of learning to actually talk to people if they've said something or done something that's upset me. And like this, there I do like there was an example of this that happened a few months ago, and that I thought, okay, this person is not gonna try to meet me in the middle. All they're gonna do is be defensive and act like they already understand everything they need to about the conflict. So I actually had to just walk away from that person. But on the plus side, I did talk to another friend, and we actually were able to see one another's point of view much better. And and he actually thanked me for bringing it up to him, and I thanked him for being open to the conversation. Um, so I do want, for anybody who's been sort of forced into this attitude of, uh, everything's all about forgive and forget, like let it go, drop the subject, don't make a mountain out of a molehill. There are people who are willing to listen. Are people who actually do believe in working out conflicts. And I think hopefully by doing this, I've sort of helped him as well. Develop a model for appropriate constructive confrontation. Because honestly, yeah, I mean, yeah. I'll just say it right there. Does that all make sense? I guess.
Let's see. Who would like to reflect Jay back?
I think that Jay feels that oftentimes conflict is how they were raised, people that they grew up around, how they handle conflict. They don't quite align with it and would prefer to meet in some form of compromise rather than moving past a conflict. and maybe it's not. And then recently he's found that some people can be moved to resolve conflict while others can't still. And he's frustrated.
Yeah. Jay, do you feel heard?
Well, yes, I think maybe I should be. I think maybe I got to be more specific. Like I was raised up to not try to resolve conflict, to more case to pretend that it never happened. But now I'm seeing that it is okay to actually admit to other people that they've done something that's upset you. And now that's what I'm learning to do, to learn like appropriately do that rather than just try to stop feeling upset or angry or annoyed or disappointed. Yes, and I am much happier because of that.
That's amazing. Yeah, some of you maybe have heard me talk about this before, but I joke sometimes that, like I went to grad school. It was privilege, but also, hundreds of thousands of student loan debt later, and I can probably count on one hand the things I use regularly that I was taught. And one of them was a triangle that has on one side aggressive and on the other side passive. What do you think's up at the top of that triangle?
Wait, what was at the bottom?
Passive, aggressive, and what's up at the top?
Assertive.
Points to Gima. Assertive. That was a big aha moment for me. I'd heard that word and been like, I should get around to learning what that means someday. But it turned out that assertive is a mix of that part that just wants to shrink and pull away and forgive and forget, and we move on. And aggressive is like, oh no, we're not going to move on. You're going to see my point no matter what. And put them in a blender and practice a lot, because sometimes assertive from the inside can actually look like passive aggressive on the outside. So that was the more advanced course. Going, damn it. I thought I was being assertive, but also I can get that twisted a little bit sometimes. But assertive is about building presence and about recognizing that sometimes, as you reflected back, sometimes conflict can be addressed directly and we can find a way through it. And sometimes people aren't ready. And even if I'm being assertive, it can also be experienced as aggressive. What? You brought up conflict? You didn't forget and forgive? Well, that's aggressive of you. Even naming it. So it's tough. It's tough, but I love that your pain point is also your bloom, because you're going, wait, this is way better. Because sometimes it works and sometimes it grows roots of relationship. And so how to recognize when is the timing to bring up conflict, and when are the signs there to lean in versus step back, which is a great norm. That's quite the dance. Yeah.
I have a question on that. What if someone is assertive about putting things under the rug? Like, because they mentioned, because I feel like people that call you out on it, they're assertive about saying to you, you're making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
they just
so
direct.
So that is a type of passive aggressive, right? Is it saying, I'm going to minimize the effect this is having on you? I'm going to say that you're exaggerating. I'm going to say this is something we just step on under the rug and we'll do the spring cleaning later. And that's a conflict of perspectives and values. So assertive can look cheerful, but it can also be passive aggressive to some people. And sometimes it's just the dance. It's realizing passive sometimes is the way to go. because somebody's in a very aggressive place, and passive can be a way to kind of yield and roll with the resistance and come back more assertive next time. Aggressive sometimes is the way
Oh,
to go. Rarely, but it is sometimes the way to go,
I
to hold presence and be there fiercely. Yeah, Jay.
yes, I mean I do have an example of that, like where I was confronted on a matter that I thought was frivolous, but I still wanted to talk it out. Like there was this once somebody was really upset because I turned them down for they wanted to meet in person one on one. I turned them down because I was too busy. They seemed to take it okay at first, but then they got really upset because and then they called me a man child. They
Oh.
and a bunch of other stuff. But I mean, I actually was not upset by this because I thought, look, okay, I said several times, hey, look, I look, I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. I'm like, are you upset because I because of this? I was trying to actually get to the root of what it was this person was upset about, and they couldn't seem to really articulate it. And so I eventually I just said, "Well, do you just want closure?" And they said yes. And I said, "Well, okay. I hope you find with somebody else what you're looking for me." Like, I think honestly, it's
Lovely.
not. I don't think it's. I think it's kind of unreasonable to get mad if somebody says I'm not comfortable with this,
Yeah.
but I still want to talk about it. I still want to see, okay, is there a more polite way I could say no? Because that's exactly what I wish other people would, uh, more people would say to me if I'm feeling disappointed and can't be there for me. Like if if I think they're being too like too direct or too blunt, but no, like but that but being on the giving end of turning somebody down, that actually I think might move me towards a little closer to being able to just wait, okay, to just say, okay, well, I'll just if they're I'll just wait for them to initiate it again. Does that all make sense?
There's a lot of sense in there. And,
Sorry, okay.
conflict is kind of it's my jam, even though I don't love conflict, believe it or not. Those of you who know, this is kind of my career is conflict resiliency. It's not like I'm like, when I grow up, I'm going to be a conflict resiliency specialist. But I, what astronaut suit would that be, right? But
That's the dream.
A kid was thinking about that.
that's the dream, right? But, I think that the joy that I find is watching people who've had a whole lifetime of one behavior with conflict actually start to learn the dance. And it doesn't mean conflict doesn't hurt and not feel like a dance and just eviscerate us and sometimes put us in very real danger. I don't want to romanticize it. But I believe a lot of what we're talking about when we talk about pain points is we're talking about slowing down and being with that pain before we react. And so we can reorient with that ache and try a new route. That's all we're doing here. But in order to reorient and try a new route, we need that circle to hold with us and just be in the ache. Sometimes that ache is so overwhelming we can't get past processing that part to actually move a new direction. And so for a moment, we breathe together. We feel the awkwardness. We feel the impulse to fix. And then we come back and we try again. And sometimes people bring their pain points month after month, and we get to hear the progression of just one pain point. I'll give you the update. But this is just missing in a lot of families and organizations and systems. The slow down and sit with it. It's counterintuitive when there's conflict because it's uncomfortable and we want to run away or smash it. Oh, we're slowing down. Thank you for being here, everyone. Do we have? I feel like we have a few more. So I think Scott, you haven't gone, and if you would like to go, Malvin, and then also, is it Jeanette? You haven't gone either. Yeah. Which one of you would like to go next? If you would like to go, you can also pass if you prefer not. It's up to you.
I feel like we're in that Spider-Man meme where all three Spider-Men are pointing at each other.
Like her, this person. That's it. Yeah.
I can go.
Okay. Go for it, Scott.
Sure. The community that I'm in, we're in between like events. We usually do events as like a series, like a TV show or a movie or a book. And I for the first time sort of didn't like run one into the other. So our community had like a pause, and part of the reason of that pause is there's a lot of major like life adjustments with school, like trying to fit in new responsibilities into what's already borrowed time, like on everything I do in VR, unfortunately. But I start like there were a couple of questions that came up in the community that I was like, it'd be kind of cool to just build an event around the questions that are coming up, because I think there's a lot of discussion there. So it's a little bit of a new idea for like an event, and we did 4 or 5 of them, and they were really positively received. And I can't quite remember what it was that came up. I think like finals and things and papers do. And I asked the community if it's just I really like need to capture some space back, so I'm gonna put this event on pause. And earlier this week, I got some pings in the community like, "Hey, are we gonna start that up again?" I felt like so guilty because I don't have the time for it. Like, I really would love to just keep doing it, but it's like it's like I don't know, like if you've ever been in a situation where you're trying to like find money to pay for something, and it's like you got to sell the baseball cards or something, and you like don't want to,
Yeah.
So that was my pain point for this week. I just wish I could have more free time.
Thank you, Scott.
Because I do it.
Oh, yes. Who wants to reflect Scott back?
I could try.
Okay.
So what I heard is that you're in another community and you're taking a pause with it, and with all of the questions that flowed through, you created a different event around that, and it was a very positive experience. But then also coming with that, trying to find the time management of like focusing on what's important, finding that like where that attention should be at, in importance to you as the individual, also holding care around that community as well. And then just being transparent with everything as questions come back in, asking about events coming back and everything, and just being that transparent to be and explain the truth of how you are in that experience. I feel like that's what I heard.
Yeah, thank you, Axel. That's 100% right. Exactly.
Yeah. How to say no when you want to say yes. Yeah.
I have to head off, but thank you for having me. I appreciate getting the opportunity to sit in and see an event.
Thanks for being here tonight.
I was VPing for another one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's another norm for us, so I appreciate that. Yay. It's all
nice to
waved
have
to
you.
Jeanette. Yeah. Glad you were here.
you for being here.
Thanks for
Mhm.
coming.
Me too.
Well, have
I
a good
gotta
day
go.
now.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
Oh
Bess.
shoot. I was
Thank you, Beth.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
gonna say I was gonna go too, but
Thanks for stopping by.
okay. So, yeah.
Boom, boom,
See ya.
boom. All right, Jay, you taking off?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I do another event, but I'm gonna come back Friday, and I'm gonna do my best to stay for the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, next
Gonna
week
say
from today,
zigzag.
if we have that. Yes, but I did want to send my appreciation to Luis and Carl. I did want to send my appreciation to Gamma for bringing up both for bringing up a pain point that I found so recognizable, and for bringing up the passive, the aggressive, example of sweeping that under the rug. I do think it does also helps to find the counterpoints, and just to make sure the principle is airtight. Well, if not airtight, just secure. Okay, but yes, have a good evening, the rest of you, and I will see you in a week. Whoever
Mhm.
makes it
Alright.
to the
Take
next
care,
meeting.
Jay.
Thank you.
Right,
See
Jay.
you,
Yeah.
Jay. Nice seeing you.
Certainly.
Bye.
Good night.
So basically,
Chain
everybody on this
reaction.
side are the survivors.
We've become the crescent moon.
Don't sit on the hill or you will fall out and disappear.
Don't be near the flowers.
That's right, those
Avoid the
It's
flowers.
rain.
related.
They're going to send you dreams of leaving. Oh, Scott, don't go.
I think it's just more mesmerizing when you're here. There's something about the way the snow falls that maybe makes me
Oh,
want to relax a
yeah.
bit more. And,
Mm-hmm.
I should probably be leaving. Maybe that's related. I don't know.
It's like I've reflected on my life. I've reached enlightenment. No more pain. Goodbye.
Yeah,
Yeah, could be. Could
that's
be.
a big coincidence, though.
It
I mean,
is.
it's like the people
Yeah.
that find meaning and the storm gods. It's like,
Yeah, they're too
Exactly.
elevated.
Yeah. They felt like they had risen above it all. No, we're just throwing shade. All right, Malvin, what's your pain point if you'd like to share?
I'm actually I am too sleepy and
You too
I
sleepy?
also have to go.
You gotta go also?
Difficulty
Yeah.
staying awake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, the pattern broke.
The pattern
Yeah,
broke.
but I really enjoy to come. Yeah,
Hmm. I'm
I
glad you
enjoy
came.
all of your conversation.
Yeah. Please
Oh,
join our
thank you.
Glad
Discord
to
if
have you.
you haven't, and go ahead and RSVP for this event for next time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll keep it in mind.
Good to see you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
But
for
thank you so
being
much for
here.
having me.
Of
Thank you.
course.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank
So
Nice
you.
meeting you.
for
You
our
saved me from a superstitious rabbit hole. Now you
that's
broke the
right.
pattern. So
You
thank you.
broke the
I did.
pattern. Yeah. So for
I hope you all have a good night.
good night. For our next part, we're going to probably just make it to one world before we do our checkout, but we're going to ask the question, how does this world make community and break community? And it's about recognizing that our environments shape how we connect. And so while staying respectful to the world builder, we can also express our emotions of what it feels like if we want to stay close together, if we want to run around. These are all these elements that most of the time we don't think about, but actually really do impact how we connect. And so I'm going to go ahead and drop a portal, and we're going to go to a world I've never been to before. So we might know how it breaks community
Ooh.
because I picked a bad world. But let's try this, and we'll get our wandering legs on a little bit before we close up here.
Fantasy City. Okay.
Mm.
Take a look.
Wow, interesting.
Loading in.
Mm-hmm.
Emma, did you spawn over there?
Yeah.
Room,
I
room,
did.
feel.
That's weird.
Sounds
We
fun.
we all appeared on this side.
Oh my god, this is so laggy.
Oh, okay. Let's get out of here then. It's not a quest world, even though it looked like it was. So I will grab us
It's quest
a
compatible, but
portal. It's
probably
not
just
though.
barely.
Yeah. Apologies, and let's try something else. Go ahead and close your eyes, and I will drop a new portal
Yeah,
shortly.
there are some places that are less, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna do a new portal.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
quest-friendly place.
Didn't sound
Yeah.
like they optimized it super well.
And
Made
actually,
everything
there's
low
a
poly, but then put 100 low poly objects down. So
exactly.
said it.
Looks like there's a lot of excitement for this world, so we're gonna check this out as our last one.
Oh, the fish world. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Oh
All right.
god.
There's a portal. Come this way. Come this
Okay.
way. Portal.
Ready?
Yay.
So we were in, but we'll see.
Oh gosh. Beta tester. You
Make
were
sure to
there from the
claim your
start.
daily rewards.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm in a
It's one of those kinds of games.
3D game. Yeah. I've been seeing so many communities announce this world, and I'm like, but now we know. We can even just stay in the
Yeah,
lobby
everybody's
area.
been in this world.
Yeah. Just staying in the
This
lobby
world,
area. How does this feel to our bodies, to our sense of like, do you feel like you would come here and go, I'm going to meet somebody here? It's going to be my friend. Maybe.
I think it's hard to tell because this is clearly a lobby. It's definitely
Mhm.
hiding the whole world with a let's teach you everything you're going to get into before you hit
Mhm.
the giant play button under the giant logo.
Yeah.
I will say the prompt when you appear and it's like collect your daily reward, it gives me those vibes of phone games and the
Yeah.
FOMO games that have all their they don't miss out every day, and it definitely it gives me that weird like, oh, this is what I'm getting into, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm going to click
And
my
it's like
way
the
into
idle
paying for
game.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Similar to
Yeah.
that idle game we were exploring earlier in the day. So you can kind of tell it's like trying to appeal to a very specific demographic, and
Yeah.
I
And
don't know.
also imagine being in a public instance of this, right? So the world limit is let's see, 25, right? So there could be 25 people in this lobby all spawning in right here on top of each other. And now they have this wall with lots of words they need to read, and they probably don't want to read them, so they're going to move away to the right or to the left. And so there's a lot of compacted kind of fight flight reflex that can come from how this world is designed so far, and that can get the adrenaline going, but it also can grow conflict. So if I was a troll, I would love this world. No exits, force people to play. This is like what do they say, shooting fish in a barrel. This is a
It would definitely, yeah, it would be a small area where you could probably get into people's faces, but I wonder how quickly people want to get out of this space in
well, it's
general. I mean,
exactly, but it also is putting you into a cattle shoot kind of feeling of like the only way to release the pressure is to play the game, go, 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 go. And so
yeah,
I don't know how much that's consent, right?
I have one on a different angle, which is if you're in a group of several people, like some of those people may have not played the game before, so it can be a bit stressful to come in and try to like learn the mechanics of a game, like while you're trying to be social.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, for sure. This one, I can tell you actually, just having already been here, clicking play for the first time will put you in an isolated chamber and
Oh,
force you to learn how to play
wow.
before you join the world.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So it forces you
It
into a
is
tutorial, but
simple.
you're on your own.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, you are. I think it's a weird way of doing it because you do want people to understand, that it does have like this little way of, you gotta throw the bobber in, you gotta wait for the exclamation point to come up, and you gotta keep tapping the trigger to a little mini game where a slider has to line up with the fish icon, and you just keep tapping your trigger until it catches it, and then
Yeah.
it's not obvious, but if you don't know that, you might walk around being even more confused,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that might
Gotcha.
be a worse feeling.
Yeah.
I
So
have a
you don't.
perspective on this as well.
Do
I got you.
share.
No,
Yeah.
no, please, I'm good.
I no, just it's related to your point into the tutorial.
Mm.
This world, I think, like literally released today, like an update, like everybody's playing it, and
It was
including me. I
Friday.
did
Yeah,
play
that
it.
was it.
Oh yeah, I think someone told me today, but I just joined today, and I was playing for the first time, and it was in the tutorial. And the tutorial stressed me out. I'm like, it was laggy. It was like not working very well. Like the people that invited me were already in the
Yeah.
lagging. Okay, so I felt left behind.
Yeah.
So I just
There you
skipped.
go.
I skipped, and I realized like there's two ways to go about it, because I knew that I could just ask people, like that it was a chance to get into socializing, because I was forced to kind of ask people to teach me about it. But yeah, so I feel like it could be a good way to break the ice, but the way it's like, if you're shy about it, it's very hard to really
It's
get
very
into it.
intense, right?
Yeah.
I think about like those intense feelings as a very primitive way to get people to reach for each other. And I think there are times where maybe that is okay, but I wonder how much the world creators just don't know another way to help people like have an invitation and a gentle kind of orienting that doesn't create that hype and that intensity and that sense of, oh no, I'm doing it wrong already. And who suffers from that the most? The people who don't game very much, the people who are not being, games are not being built for them. So they don't game very much because games don't represent them, they don't include them. And then this can create a panic response. And it can be a kind of another little microfracture in people of going, I don't belong here. I'm not going to do good at this. And I appreciate the perspective of the icebreaker. And I also just have a care about how we make spaces and who we're making them for and who maybe we're keeping out without even realizing it.
When you're saying about that intensity, but I can also see that being part of game design to kind of create emotions that I feel like when you are within an intense emotion, you tend to get more attached to the world and the people around you. So that I think that relates to the mechanics of just reward hacking someone's brain in a way.
There you go. Right?
That's actually, that is a good point. Yeah. Yeah, like
Axel,
when
did you have
sometimes.
something? I thought I heard you say.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, for me, like the in theater we use the term like the yes and then like the button. So like it's I feel like, especially with like the world creation, like I feel like what is often missing is like creators, and they get so into like their yesness of like, oh, this feels great, this is where we want to go, that they often forget to put that button, which is like a pause, to be like, but how might others who aren't accustomed to what my yesness is feel. Because when I first entered into this world, I immediately got very claustrophobic. I've had instances where like the immediate confetti in my face almost kind of triggered me in a way from being in an instance where I was at a college with like an active shooter drill. So like that kind of hit me in a way that was not kind of fun. And I almost actually left without explaining. But
wow, thank you for sharing that.
So it's like so I feel like you as like it's like I in respect to the creator, like yes, I see the vision, like I appreciate it, I love the contributions. But like just taking that moment, have that button, and be like, okay, but not everybody is going to see or view this the way that we are.
That's it. Lovely, Axel. Thank you for naming it so honestly and transparently. And so I will just say this for me. If I came into this world on my own in a public instance, I would not just instantly leave the world, but I would probably take my headset off. And so for whatever it's worth, this world does not invite Hey You to continue. And I would do this partly out of my own physiology and response, but I would also do this partly in solidarity for what I know around design and who this is pushing away and who this is disappointing and scaring in a way they don't even consciously register as much as you did. They just leave and they're like, that is, I don't know. I don't want this anymore. I don't know what I want anymore. So these are all sketches by creative minds that are just trying to throw out things and see if they catch more people. So I have a lot of compassion for this, but I also think we have to ask ourselves who is being hurt by the spaces we create. And
before we continue, for my sake, being transparent, is there a way that we could like kind of go migrate to a different world?
Yes, thank you. Really good. Beautiful.
Outdoors.
I can hear the suffocation.
Leaving this room would open it up, but it's totally understandable.
Yeah, let's just let's close out in a different world, and I'm looking for a quest friendly world so we don't have that crash again. And see, this is why I do these events, and because that advocacy is so important. And when we learn how to honor it and love it and support it, then new things open up in our lives. We trust ourselves better. So I'm just,
I was just thinking, based on what you're saying, who does this hurt? Who does this exclude? I almost wonder if there isn't even maybe like an unintentional, like the creator kind of wants people who don't like this room to not join their game so that they can have fun with just their own
there
friends.
You go. Right.
We're being filtered.
Know how games work.
We're being screened
how
and
there's
filtered.
An onboarding process.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then what does that mean? Right? That then what happens is, it's a popular world. So now the app is featuring it, right? VR chat starts to feature it. And now you're starting to quarantine and exclude a whole group of people. So let's go to a comfy puzzle world. No timers, just comfy.
It looks like we have it's raining outside.
So, what do you notice being in here? What's this like?
It feels like there's a lot of natural light. I mean, it's hard to call what's natural in VR, but it is sort of
I'm getting a little vitamin D if I put my arm out the window.
It's got some orange in it.
VRD.
Yeah. I see the puzzle thing here, but
Mhm.
I picked it up and realized that it doesn't have like that automated snapping system like we had in
Mhm.
that other puzzle.
The other one,
And
yeah.
that made me go like, oh, I have to manually fit these together where nothing slides or snaps. It's like I have to manually
We can
throw
change
things
the table
together.
height, possibly.
The
I don't
old
know.
way. I want you to do it the old way.
I know this is a
know.
real, like, put it on the puzzle, but if you're in a headset, now you're straining your neck, possibly, and so
Yeah,
there's
you have
all
to
kinds of
crouch
other
over.
pieces. Mm-hmm.
I
And
will
it's like
say this world. Oh, sorry. Yeah, please.
I was gonna say, like, if it is like the old way, or however, like things. This is a 3D environment. I can shove things right through the floor and it won't stop. It feels very unnatural when you have a thing that things have to fit together and they don't snap together.
Yeah. And let's check in with Axel. How does this world feel, Axel?
I immediately, I want to acknowledge. I think it's either Frofador. It's like I think when you enter,
Yeah.
it's the confetti thing. So I think that's kind
Oh,
of
you're the
last world.
confetti.
So I would like to rescind that statement from the last world.
Confetti travels
you
with
thought the world did that.
Yeah, I thought the world did that, but it was
I did too.
No,
That's
it's okay.
funny.
No, it's okay. It was. I
was
realized that entering this world, so I would like to
it followed
rescind
you.
that statement.
Yeah,
just that specific one, but still, like that
funny.
from that world into here, I was getting like that claustrophobic vibe and everything, and I don't like tight spaces whatsoever. And I could see it being public, like everybody just loading in on top of each other would not be great for
100%.
me.
Yeah, this
but
is
in
not
this
a
world,
public
immediately. Yeah, in this world, immediately, that tightness just went away as I loaded it and just looked out and saw the cityscape.
Yeah,
and
right.
it was just like because like vastness is kind of what I got, and I was like, yeah. So I feel much more grounded.
Yay! I'm so glad we moved. And this is actually an environmental hack, right? So when our eyes can gaze over a long distance, our body feels safer many times. And so being up high and in this kind of cozy space, our bodies are going, nothing's going to shoot me here, nothing's going to harm me, I'm present. Even if the puzzle pieces get stuck in the table and everything else. So,
unless you're an international fugitive spy, then this is your worst nightmare for snipers. But never mind that.
Okay, that'll be a different role play, different time. All right, my dears.
I was like,
that's okay.
Yeah.
This is lovely. So we're going to do our checkout time. Scott's been exploring upstairs. I think there's puzzles in every room. But
can I do one last comment on this world?
Please.
One comment that I want.
Sure.
Just that this world immediately I could not help but start the puzzle.
Exactly.
Like there's nothing. There's no explore. I had no other curiosity.
Yeah.
I'm usually very curious about the world. I just
it just locked you in.
I can't help it.
Right?
Exactly. Like this is. And there's a lot to learn.
There's a lot to learn here. It brings us together into a circle very automatically. I've had some conversations in this world that I don't think would have happened in any other reality or place. People who might normally kind of disagree and spark some hard things with each other can come here, and we're just putting another puzzle piece down and making fun of the awkwardness of the interactions and whatever. And we can say some hard things in between that, and we're okay. So this is definitely a default world for me. If I need to take some people somewhere and I know we're going to feel safe in our bodies here, but I wouldn't make this a public world either, because there's a lot of dead ends here. And that can be really fight-flight for people that are just not feeling as secure for a good reason. So we're going to do our checkout, though. So I'm going to pull y'all away from the puzzle if possible. Let's go into the sign-filled living room.
No!
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It'll just
Yeah.
be a few minutes.
I was invested.
Yeah.
I could sit on the couch.
No, yeah,
You
it's like,
like your
it's
puzzle
just so
pieces?
interesting. Like
Yeah.
to have a
Of course.
it would be so hard for me to have a conversation in this world. Like I would just be so focused.
And the puzzles go to like, I think almost 1,000 in here. It's quite a world.
Oh wow. Okay.
No. Okay. So what we do at this part is we do the appreciation game, which is recognizing the surviving 5 who has lasted through almost a half extinction event tonight. And here we are. And we're going to acknowledge the remaining champions of Weekly Builder Meetup. And just we're going to have an imaginary ball in the middle. We're going to throw this ball that has all the energy of the evening to one person in this circle that helped us grow. And so I'm appreciating somebody who may be most surprised to receive it from me and least expecting it in that moment. And I'm just going to say one thing that grew me, even if it's as simple as I like your avatar. That's always a default. So who would like to start this appreciation game?
I can.
Okay, Axel, and we'll roll it over and put it on your nose. Okay, there you go.
Thank you. I am going to throw it to Gamma.
Gamma, scratch the ball. Got it.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't physically throw it, but I'm throwing it now.
Nice.
Is there a ball here? I'm just imaginary ball, right?
Imaginary ball.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. What I appreciate is the ability to discuss the fears around creating a community, and that the whole thought about it, because I also share that because I do have my own Discord community. It's for musicals and all of that stuff, because I do direct and I do act, so I have my own community there in Discord. And yeah, it's very scary. Like it's hard to maintain sometimes because we all have our separate lives and everything. So it's just, yeah, appreciate that transparency, and like how do we create that interest, and how do I keep it going, and then like the fears of sometimes we have to let something go for a while and everything. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yay. Yay.
Thank you.
So you have the ball now, and you can pick somebody here to throw the ball to. We're kind of weaving it closed. Somebody who's least expecting it from you will be most surprised.
I would say you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There.
Got it. Oh, there it is.
The word, I guess, a very specific word. Let's just use a substitute. I appreciate the way you tend to communicate and thinking how to communicate. Express yourself. I think that's the closest thing. It's a very specific word, but I'm just not going to focus on that. In terms of, there's a I think there's a humor that I really appreciate. Like there's some serious stuff that you're talking about that can, in a certain light, be quite sensitive, but you have a certain way of just communicating it comfortably. And I think that's so rare and so difficult too. It's like almost like an art, and you do it so well. Like for example, the survivors, like that's a very like you do that a lot. Like maybe you know people are going off, but you put that comedy in and that humor that is confident. And for me, I like that combination of like we're here for something that's sensitive and we're vulnerable, but it can also be this as well. Like it's a spectrum, and I appreciate you like putting that like to light. Like it's you make it evident, and it's something I noticed. Yeah.
Oh, that touches me. Thank you. Yeah. You think we stop talking about norms at the beginning of these events, and we really never stop talking about norms. We pretend we move on, but I'm always bringing the norms up as often as I can, because this is the practice. The practice is seeing what nobody is saying and finding ways to say it so that we can change it if we need to, even if it hurts. And sometimes laughter is a way we release the grief. We lost a lot of people tonight. And I'm so glad each of you are still here. And both of those things can be true at the same time. Yeah. Thank you for honoring that. I am going to throw this ball. Ooh, I have so many choices. It's so good. I don't usually get the ball in the beginning, so I just savor this moment. I'm going to throw this to Scott. And Scott is going to jump up and jump. Oh, look, it became a bubble ball. That was clever, Scott. You were ready for that one. Swallowed it and blew a bubble. So, Scott, you thank you for being here tonight. And there's so much underneath that, but I was having some panic symptoms today. I think my nervous system is pretty fried, and I appreciate your witness through my fried week and helping de-static me a little bit, and then also showing up, because I think you got that I was like, I don't know how to do this right now. I'm maxed out. So thank you for being a guardian of the bridge and a companion to somebody that's just kind of buried right now. Yeah, grateful.
That's a lot. My pleasure to be helpful.
Yeah.
But also feel like I'm here benefiting from this wonderful event also. So it's like just multiple angles of greatness.
Yeah.
To be able to be here.
Yay.
And I get the ball. Yeah.
You get the ball. You are the ball.
But I had
Little
such a tough
collector's
choice.
edition.
So.
I know. So many good choices.
I think I'm gonna throw the ball to Fro.
Yay.
I don't
got it.
I don't know if I say this enough, but you fill the events with such like wise observations and like a real depth of knowledge that I think everyone benefits from. So I'm always super excited when I see your RSVP or you're able to come in. So yeah, thanks for being here and adding so much.
Oh man.
Aww. Yay. Yay. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I'll close the loop and pass it back to Axel.
Yay.
Here,
you got it. Whoop.
Oh.
I'll put it back on your head. It bounced off the wall. There you go.
No, I always appreciate seeing you coming by. I know you haven't been around every Friday, so it's nice to see you come back. And it's always nice to hear about like how you're going through your situation with your play, and hearing about how you're going through school and learning with your friends. And it's like it's a whole foreign world to me that like I don't know anything about, theater kids or anything about that world. So it's really interesting to hear that all the creative things you're going through are like actually really relatable in ways that I'm like, of course it's like, oh yeah, because you're doing creative things. It's just it's a whole different medium, but it's still the same problems that everyone else goes through. It's really fascinating. So I always get that.
That's such a good one. And I'm gonna put some icing on that ball. I just want to honor and thank you for grounding our world hop tonight with a very real statement of your own experience, and then following that up with your request for change. Like, that is brilliant. And I wish I had taken your statement and actually just said, why don't we go to a different world? But your assertiveness was genuine and heartful, and I'm glad we did that. It makes me learn to trust you more, and that is makes these evenings worth it. We build a little relationship every week. Yeah, grateful. Well, you get to take the ball home with you and stick it on a bookshelf somewhere. And when people say, "What's that empty spot?" You're like, "It is not empty. that is the appreciation ball of February 27th, 2026. I can't believe I
And maybe
remembered the
then
date.
they'll look at you a little bit weird, but
That's right.
be assertive.
That's right. You'll be like, "It's there."
I will start my little own group of just community building pain points at that moment.
There you go, the full circle. You're like, I passed the invisible ball of appreciation to you. Well, this was lovely. I am going to. There's actually a new norm that I'm announcing tonight, but I'm going to also write up and share in our community. I'm going to close this with that norm, and then we're going to take a picture and say goodnight. I believe that when we're doing events where we share tender things that make us vulnerable, that make us kind of choke up a little bit, that sort of piece, part of the group hygiene that we need to put in place going forward is a very strong recommendation from me and from Bridgemakers that we take a half-hour break to not be connected to each other when this event is over. And that can feel a little controlling or weird because there's very few events in social VR that would ever say that. But I have new evidence towards that instinct in me that I believe we really need to honor that the bonds that we form in a group are not necessarily the relationship we carry outside of that group, and give ourselves space to kind of seal back up and choose who we want to be in relationship to after that. So that's going to be a new norm that's going to be in any kind of event where we're sharing emotions or tenderness. We need to have a break. And
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. And there's more, of course, you can imagine stories underneath that, but I've gotten clear this week that that's even more than a norm. It's going to be more like a guideline and possibly a rule for some people. And I usually close, when I close at the end of events, I usually leave immediately, almost to model that to some degree, because I really want us to take the pause to take in what we learned and finish with ourselves first, like, what did I get out of that? What do I want to carry? How do I reconnect with me before I want to go socialize and tell people about the weird invisible ball or whatever else we did? So, yeah, that's just going to be the invitation, and I'll get better at saying that more clearly. Maybe it'll be a sticker. Maybe we'll all get a chance, but we need to start closing things consciously like that. And
That is, it's
yeah.
interesting. I was just going to say, I used to have a therapy group, and one of the rules was not to connect with people
Socialize
outside the group.
outside of it.
That-
Yeah. And well,
yeah.
this isn't therapy. It can feel therapeutic, and it can also feel tender. And so I think I stayed away from that rule because I didn't want to mimic therapy even more by being like, "Hey, clients, don't talk to each other." But I think that we need to practice some hygiene about how we close, so we can help protect ourselves and each other from just kind of forming bonds that wouldn't normally exist in non-structured spaces. Too fast, that can create really tough things over time. So thank you for your patience with the crypticness of that, but that's going to be what we're going to roll out soon. And let's grab a photo and say goodbye to our viewing audience, whoever that is. Maybe we'll take it in front of the really beautiful landscape here, the raindrops.
I was thinking that too.
Yay. And so this is the part where we get to use our emojis, but also when I say 3, 2, 1, we can just say any word that comes to mind that is silly or captures the evening, so we can say goodbye to everyone. And one of those words will be what the evening is named. So 3, 2, 1, puzzles.
Snapping.
Snapping,
Bananas.
skin. What was your Scott?
Ice cream.
Bananas.
Bananas. Okay. And Axel, do you have one? Axel's thinking. Okay. Axel's got static. Maybe
Try to
Axel
think of
shared.
random words sometimes.
Axel's word is nope, which is a great boundary to set in
Nope.
worlds that make Axel feel panicky. Okay.